the end because you can talk about Bermuda Triangle, I'll talk about Tab.
I'll talk about myself.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm not a dick. I'm James. I play guitar and sing in a loud, noisy punk rock band called House Basket. I started curating big events in McKibben Lofts back in like 2008, 2009. That's how I met Chris Carr. So doing this fast. We were throwing shows because we had to, because the bar scene and the bar venues are terrible and they rip you off and people don't like to go to them. And then I moved into the Tea Factory the first time. I ran Next Level, which is right next to Rock Bottom. It was kind of like a 1-2 punch. Grimy fucking venues next to each other, just throwing punk shows, open mics all the time. Once again, out of necessity, because that's what you gotta do. Stephanie and I just moved into the Tea Factory again, coincidentally. Fast forward 2 years. Now we run Bermuda Triangle. It's Bermuda Triangle BK on Facebook and other social networks. And we throw shows twice a month about, and that's it.
Snacks.
I'm the other half of the couple, James and Stephanie. We got engaged last year. James and I work together. I think like curating with James is great because like you learn how to fight, like have creative fights. You know, he comes from a music background.
So
I come from a visual and performance art background, which I think is one of the things that makes our space a little bit, you know, there's like multiple approaches going on. So our program is like, it's kind of well-rounded, I think, personally. We've done some curators panels there. We've done some straight up art events and blending art and music and performance. One of the things we like to do is we like to utilize the entire space as our palette. So we recreate and reinstall and reanimate our rooms and our deck for every show, which means that we actually have a lot of time in between shows because we put a lot of thought and energy and a lot of collaboration goes into every single show. So if we do invite you to a show, please know that we've been working on it really hard. And they're more like every 2 months or so. But yeah, so that's Bermuda Triangle. And then I'm also, my background is in fine art, so I curate a performance series called Tab, which has happened in multiple spaces around Brooklyn. The next one's going to be in Manhattan. But that's like kind of an immersive environments kind of show. So if you've been to Sleep No More, or if you've been to a show, you know, where the audience is like able to sort of interact and be really like, you know, it's your point of view going through the show, like bird's eye view going through. It's a really different approach to curating. I think it's really fun and vibrant. So those are the two things that I do. And I know Chris Carr and QC, and they're kind of like heroes to me in a way, because these are two of the most prolific curators like around right now. Like they're so active and they work so hard and they know everyone and they're always on. So thank you guys for inviting me.
Now you guys are everyone. My name is John. I work for a website called Square Zeros. And my buddy Derek, who had to work today and couldn't be here, and I basically started the website. It was, we were being interviewed. We're in a band called Sunset Guns, just a punk band. We play with House Basket sometimes. And we were being interviewed by our buddy who had this other blog, and you know, he's another one of these guys who just like kind of connects people. And he was talking, and he was like, so what are y'all's influence? Like, what kind of shit do you have in the tank? And I was like, well, Derek's not going to bring it up, man. But he was in like a surprisingly good high school hardcore band. You know, like not embarrassing shit. Like you would listen to it now, and you would like legitimately be like, oh, I see what, you know, like what he's doing, you know, and shit like that. And the guy was like, that's an awesome idea for a blog, man. Just have people like send in their old high school music, and then just like put it on the internet for people to hear. And Derek and I were like, not that, but something like that. And we went home, and like I called him the next day, and I was like, do you want to start interviewing people about what like high school bands they were in and shit like that, and then like do a podcast where we listen to their music and talk about it with them? And he was like, yes, and I know exactly how we're gonna do it. Like it was like we had both gone to bed and like woken up and been like, this is what we're gonna do. So Square Zeros is, the idea being that we were all a square bunch of fucking zeros when we started playing. And also that it's like the square before square one, you know, like the earliest kind of genesis of your artistic creation. So we started that, and that was sort of one of these things where I've noticed, and hopefully we get a chance to talk about this more, but like when you start just like kind of doing stuff in the community, there's like this small coterie of people who are doing stuff in the community who accept you as one of them and then like kind of bring you in. And you know, like, you know, I got, you know, closer with these guys as a result. I mean, I'm sure I'll meet these guys, you know, like Stephanie had a panel similar to this, like, you know, over the summer, and, you know, met more people through that. And now we've expanded it something where it's like, we try and put out an episode every Thursday, although the holidays kind of broke us up a little bit. Where we interview somebody from some local band, or, you know, if somebody's traveling, we'd love to get traveling bands. And then, you know, it's like Mondays. We also have, if you guys are interested, if you want to get participating, we also run an article called In Defense Of, where you choose something musically that's typically maligned or dismissed, and then you defend it in an article. So like we had like one of our buddies wrote in defense of like this really shitty Jimmy Buffett album that he loves, or like you know, like it's just stuff like that. That's Monday. We're really positive. It's Square Zeros. And then on Tuesdays we put up like pictures from the shows we went to that week. Wednesdays we put up show listings for any of the bands that we've interviewed or anybody who's like involved in anything that we've interviewed. And Thursday we try and have an episode, and then we like rest for a few days and go to shows, and then we do it again.
Jesus.
Yes, right. I'd like to think of us as the Jesus
Yes.
of the embarrassing musical
Yeah.
podcast. So that's what I do, and as a result, I've been kind of like we did a festival in October called Zero Fest. We're trying to do another Zero Fest in March. Playing me off. Oh no! I thought that was the music. I thought that was the vaudeville hook coming out being like, John, you take the season. No, Chris made an indelible mark on the last night of Zero Fest.
You guys did. Y'all shut down like was it at your spot?
Yeah.
Was that weekend?
Yeah.
It was. I've been to a whole lot of law parties where the cops come in, they don't give a fuck, whatever. This is one of the only times the cops came in and people like walking by smoking weed, like, oh, the cops are here, and I'm like, everyone's alright. And then the like people are talking shit like, so you guys gonna leave? And the cops are like, no, y'all are about to leave. And I'm like, oh shit, they're actually shutting it down. They never shut it down.
See, we should have done a big ass party at my house tonight because the NYPD's not working.
Yeah, right.
Try to get in on that before you
You know what? Let's talk after the panel because that's a very.
You know, the funny thing was,
they're really not working.
Literally.
Yeah. The funny thing was, I was the one talking to the cops, but everyone was like, our community is
Like
so.
leaning on their shoulder. Like,
Our community is so tight knit that like
Yeah.
everyone would come up to me and hug me because the cops were like
James, you
trying
go back.
to get me in trouble and everyone's hugging me like, oh Steph, this is a great party, like right in front of the cops.
Yo,
At one point,
The cops were like, I hate my job.
at one point, she had to go downstairs and talk to the cops, and they set up like the good cops to come talk to us and be like, "Oh, we chose to be your party if we weren't on
Yeah.
And one of the guys was like, "This girl Steph who runs this place, like, what does she do?" And I was like, "She does this, man. She like has parties where we like show art and play music and stuff, and then you guys come and break them up. Like, don't try and be my buddy right now." You know?
What she
So, like, anyway, we did not shut down Bermuda Triangle.
No.
Square Zeros is an upstanding, totally upstanding organization. They just happened to throw a really good party and Bermuda Triangle got the cops called. But we're trying to do another one in March, so you know, like hopefully we'll all get a chance to talk about our stuff.
Nice.
Thank you.
A lot of us that already know you want to know what the fuck you do because we know but we don't know. Like,
I guess
so what you do?
I guess like right now, I guess I'm basically an artist and budgeting curator, which I'm happy to be a part of this. I'm happy to be a part of this panel because I did curate my first group show November 29th, which was a better success than I thought.
That shit was dope.
Get Palisades, like, you know, they'd obviously.
come on.
Who's doing music in the afternoon? Nobody's doing music. All right, cool. Set some art up there.
All right.
Sell some beer. You could, like, I just kept saying they got one of them iPads with a credit card swiper. And that's a good excuse to come drinking after Thanksgiving. So, and, you know, and it helped because, like, you know, and, like, you know, Ariel, they were great with the space. And, of course, but you have to be proactive about it. Like, when people walk in the door, you can buy fucking beer, you know what I mean? You know, everybody. And you try to, and you know, and you just, and it was good. Like we had a 10 a.m. set up, and it gave everybody like enough time to like. Cause nobody came. I was like, nobody came till like 2 or 3. It was great. So it just gave us a healthy amount of time.
I got a question. If somebody was to be like, yo, who Nick McNair is, and somebody tried to describe you, how would you describe? How do you think that description would sound?
It's like
Who's Nick? Well, you know, how would that sound?
like bundling like ball of energy that just like erupts. Like if there's like a show going on and like I know the band, like I'm gonna try to get like a group photo. There's
My description is he's that guy that'll show up at your party and make everybody come together and make a group Polaroid picture. But he's so. This is why I love this guy. He's so in the moment that he don't even think about it like that. Like you know what I'm saying?
Natural.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But he's so smooth with it. You won't be upset that you got to put down your wine to go
Yeah,
get
but
these pictures.
it's not.
and all
It's
that.
just. It's a new.
It's like-
I get it now.
It's about providing a physical record of us.
Right.
I don't feel there's going to be like a real, true, relative physical record of us in the years to come. And I you discover that by when I was curating, and it was a number of friends I had that are photographers, and I was just like people that I talk to very, very frequently. That I was like, you're in the show, bro. What's up, man? He's like, and I couldn't. They would be like, yeah. And it was just a struggle to get a print. It was a struggle to go. I told them just go to B&H. Just go to B&H because they'll do low cost prints because I had Manhattan Color Lab shut down on me. And I've been in situations where I needed prints last minute at a very considerable discount because I have no money. And so you tell everybody, so it's like, at least with the Polaroid, it's given me an ability to go to an event, document it, and have a print ready for a gallery.
You know what? Let's
almost
not get everybody
overnight.
that yet. We're
You know?
gonna back to that.
So that'll just give you an idea of like, yeah.
We'll come back around, we're gonna get little details and all that. You know what I'm saying? But for
No,
right
man,
now,
fuck the
this is the guy that, if you would have random Polaroid, it's because of him.
I carry a picture flash in my back pocket.
I fucked with you and your ideology.
I'm sure at least 5 of you are
I think was
Polaroid.
it the ugly sweater party? Did he throw Polaroid for
Yeah.
that one? I was in
The cops came. That's what we did to
I was
distract
there.
Yes.
I was there. The cops came. We were like, "Fuck the police." We were just like, "Girl, fuck the police." I'm like, "Should I be saying this? I'm on stage." I didn't know what to say. I'll be hard to DJ. I'm like, Dennis, just keep playing. Just keep playing the DJ.
Take a picture, smile, put the
Or,
cops.
take a Nick.
I'm Harris Smith. I publish comics and art books as Negative Pleasure Publications. I co-host a weekly radio show on Newtown Radio also called Negative Pleasure. I'm part of the production team for a ongoing crowdsourced, crowdfunded anthology film called TBD, the movie. I record a little bit of music as Chernobyl Skull. I collaborate with fine folks from Spectacle Theater on screenings. And I actually know Chris because we're both from DC and we went to kindergarten and grade school. But I kind of came up in the like DC punk, post-punk DIY scene in the 90s, and I've just been applying that to everything I've tried to do. Anything I've ever liked, I've tried to do. So I've done film, I've done comics, I've done music, anything that, photography, anything that kind of excites me, I want to try it. And that's been kind of the inspiration for everything I've done. So,
Hey, I'm Mark. I'm from Spectacle Theater.
My name's Colin. I'm from the Spectacle Theater as well.
Colin and I are here for Spectacle. I got involved in Spectacle in May of 2010, a little while after it started up. And Spectacle, for those of you who don't know, is a movie theater at South 3rd in Bedford. It's a bodega that we gutted and turned into a theater. Built the screen out. There's 30 seats. All shows are $5. So primarily we're a movie theater, but we also host live scores, readings, discussions, pretty
What
much.
type of films do you play? Not to interrupt.
Really weird shit.
Yeah, we try to focus on lost and forgotten kind of repertory stuff. We've done other kind of first run or special event kind of things. And we have guest people come in. Harris does double features basically every other month to launch a new book or whatever. But
I mean, it's an all volunteer space.
Yeah, everyone.
Can you guys screen bad taste, please?
We've shown bad taste.
You shown bad taste?
Yeah.
Oh,
But yeah, everyone's a volunteer. All the money goes back into the space, and we have probably 70 people collectively putting this stuff together. We have people not only in Brooklyn and in the city, but also out of the state and in some cases internationally, who are doing posters, editing trailers, writing copy, sourcing films for us. And so we've had stuff show at, our trailers have shown at MoMA, and we had a series at the Mad Museum this past summer, and kind of done joint events with places like Cinefamily out in LA and other places like that around the country too. So, I don't know, you want to add anything else?
No, I didn't have much segments.
Really cool theater.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Alright, so before we go, I got a couple questions for you two and all of that, you know what I'm saying? First, I met these two, you know what I'm saying, I was randomly performing at one of their dope parties or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? So they would have like, you know, they would throw it in their loft, they would have like a roof thing, then there's another roof, so there'd sometimes be another party going on, and you like, hey, what's up? And they're like, yo, what's good? You know what I'm saying? And so that's kind of how they
I got lost. A couple of times I got lost. And they go, there's a party. I went in through like 3 of them. Didn't care. I was just looking for like, Chris, is there anybody? They're like, no, this is the wrong party. Went to the next door. Next door. I got it though, because I like adventures. So I got it.
Right, so this is probably one of them though. So
My adventure queen.
One of the questions is, you know, and we're also going to like, you know, we could probably even, if we have time, we can like do some raised hands.
Yeah, we did some question and answer at the end. Yeah.
You know, so one of my questions is, who got started first with curating, and what led you to curating and putting together stuff opposed to doing what you already do as a craft, or performance art, visual art?
You want to go first?
Oh, jeez. Go ahead.
Well, I think Steph and I probably started at different places, doing different things, and then kind of applied it. Because even though I was like a visual arts student, like in New York, I've been more music oriented. You know, it's like if you like, you're like, okay, it's Tuesday. By next Tuesday, I need you to put together a show with 4 bands. And like, it's gotta like not be a complete flop, you know. Like it's like that's basically 1 week is like basically last minute. And I was talking about like last night we did something where, you know, we still mostly filled the place, you know, and it was super last minute. Like I can do that shit, you know, like that is like that's down. You know, I think what I started using the word curator instead of booker, because to be a booker is like the dude who like yeah. Booker is the guy who is like basically this unneeded third party between you and the bar, and like you know, you're always kind of like, oh, even in a night where you know their bar is taking a certain amount, but you're like, oh, we still brought people. Why did we get paid anything? Right. And you realize like this kid just got on the subway and ran. You know, like that's what I think about Booker. So I was like, you know what? I like to be a little more conscientious about it. It's more like curating, you know, like because it's college, I like put together a couple of art shows and stuff, and I'm like, you know what? No matter what it is, I feel like curating is a better word. It's a little more conscientious because, like, yeah, Booker. I feel like I'm gonna hand out like, you know, crazy flyers in people's cars and shit. I'm not doing that.
Right.
And I think Stephanie came from a completely different background, but it was totally applicable. Totally applicable.
Yeah.
You can't think of a funny
So
joke.
James,
That was good,
so James has more experience in the Bushwick DIY scene for sure. James, like, I met James, I went to a punk show in the basement venue that he was running, and I was like enthralled. You know, I was like hanging from the rafters, like, oh, I'm so happy to be here! Yay, New York! Because I came here from Los Angeles via my own sort of like building a business in New York, which I run, and then like starting my own curatorial projects. I'm actually finishing I'm academic as well into curating. I'm actually doing an art curator's master's at NYU. So yeah, I'm writing my thesis right now. So I have a little bit of like the institutional kind of guns, and then really always side on the DIY side for like where I feel like things actually happen is like in an environment where everything's free and where you know, the cool thing is, like, I can be in class and I can come up with this beautiful presentation and I can have, like, these amazing people, like, listening to me. But, like, I come back to Bushwick and I'm like, hey, I just want to do this and I want this person to swing from here and what do you want to do? And everyone's like, yeah! And then, like, it happens. Like, I'm like, you can't do that in a museum. Like the things that we can do in our community is, like, why I want to be here, you know? So with James and I coming together, to get back to his question, it was a lot of, like, I was like, we have to do something different every time. I don't want to just have another punk show. I don't want to just give people beer. Like, I want to give people something completely different every single time. And we would get in all these arguments. He'd be like, oh, I got this band, this band, this band. And I'm like, I love all those people, but why are we doing it again? Like, why on June 15th are we having this show? Tell me what people want, June 15th, what can we do? So we have a lot of, like, James is like muscle and fucking, like, he's like a big personality. He knows a zillion people in the scene, and then he's got me going like, yeah, but let's make it really awesome. Like, let's take it to another creative level, and, like, let's really interrogate, like, what we're doing and why we're here. So the two of us working together is, like, special because of that. So Bermuda Triangle, we always think it's like James and me, and then, like, what we make together is like that triangle thing.
It's the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, that's the Holy Spirit.
I love that shit.
No, I just, like, one of my relatives asked me that for Christmas, and I was just like, I couldn't think of an answer, and I was like, best joke ever.
Well, thank you. John, I actually have a question for you.
Yeah, I have a question for you. Like, how do you see yourself as an archivist? So, like, we purposely pick curators from different backgrounds, whether it's comics, film, you know, like documentation of current events, going to current events. How do you see yourself as an archivist by bringing on people now, talking about what they used to do, and then throwing shows that are with contemporary bands and people you've met in the scene?
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely a role that we've sort of taken on. It's not something, again, you know, when we came up with the idea, it was just like, hey, let's interview people about embarrassing moments in their past and shit like that, you know, and I think we thought it was just going to be funny and entertaining. And then over a little bit of time, I wish my buddy Derek, it's me and my buddy Derek who started this whole thing, and he's a radio journalist by trade. I'm actually an art history PhD student, and, you know, basically that means, like, lifetime coffee shop worker and bartender. And then guy in band, you know, it's like a third role. But so much more. There's you know, dime a dozen in this town. And so anyway, Derek was the one who, like, started to take on this sort of, like, messianic vision where he was like, this is like, in a way, almost like a popular art form that we're, like, protecting and archiving, right? Like, all these, like, old songs that just, like, crumble to dust on tape in somebody's mom's closet in suburbia, now we're sort of, like, actually, like, putting on SoundCloud and, like, protecting and, like, getting on this place where, like, you know, making it accessible for people. And I was like, yeah, that's really true. And I was like, okay, so, you know, rather than just the 2 or 3 shows, like, songs we do each show, let's start having people send us just whatever they've got under the, you know, assumption that, of course, if they ever want us to take it down, we can take it down. But they were like, we'll basically create this archive. And he put it in these terms that, like, blew my mind. And we still have, we're not there yet. We just started this year in 2014. But he was like, think about it this way, man. He was like, what if you could just, like, we tag all this shit, we get all this stuff, and say you were, like, at work one day and you're just like, I don't know what I want to listen to, man. I'm, like, already tired of this new record and I don't want to listen to this shit. And you were just like, I want to know what the teenagers were doing in, like, the wake of Equimini in this year in Atlanta, Georgia, and you typed in, like, Atlanta hip-hop 1997 and got all the teenage music that, like, we had found that somehow, like, touched on that, and then you could just, like, listen to it, right? Like, that would be fucking incredible. Or, like, you know, like, oh, like, Jaguar Records started in Bloomington this year. Like, what effect did that have on, like, the 17-year-olds of fucking Indiana, you know, or something like that. You just type it in, and then, like, that would come out. Like, that's something that, again, as an academic, I'm like, that's like a historiographical tool that would be, like, enormous, right? Like, for musicologists as well as just, like, a casual listener. So if we could ever get there, I mean, that's the kind of shit I'm like, can we get some grant money for this? Like, can we like talk to the government and like get them to pay us to do what we do? Because that would be the shit. But like on our very basic level right now, like yeah, we absolutely see it as like an archiving process, kind of process. And when we interviewed Win Scarlett, you know, who does like Slack Gaze, I don't know if you guys know him. He's got you mentioned his new space in
he's a prolific dude.
He was on the panel that we had before.
Yeah, and he's going to grad school. He went to grad school for like maybe I don't know archiving, library science or something like that. And he got out of it because he just realized he could do more by himself. But I remember when we talked to him about it, he was like his eyes got big. You know, it was like one of those things where I was like, we've got somebody on the hook here. Like we've got a good idea here. So I definitely see it as that. And I would say too, like I mentioned earlier, like every Tuesday, just putting up pictures, and this is a little closer to what Nick was saying too, like every Tuesday we just put up you know, it's a simple thing, but like post a bunch of pictures from shows that we went to that, you know, that previous weekend or that previous week. Like that's a visual archive. I mean, there's not one of us, I bet, that doesn't have some photo book of some music scene that they love, like on their shelf or on their coffee table, you know, where there's like, you know, fucking No Way book Thurston Moore worked on, or like Please Kill Me, or you know, like Our Band Could Be Your Life, or like you know, or you know, like Rakim Told Me, or you know, like whatever. Right, yeah, right, exactly. Like there is a way to like, you know, again, just like not be a guy in a show or not be a guy in a band, but actually be somebody who's like, you know, sort of actively documenting this because it feels important to us, right? Like I would like to think that it's going to be important to somebody else someday, and if it's not, like at least, you know, we'll all have that, you know, as everything else is. Was that to your question?
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Now, Nick, I got a question for you, right? So, Polaroid. Why, like, how'd you get to, like, why'd you start doing Polaroid, right? Two, why group opposed to, like, you know, like, solo portraits or something like that? Because I see a pattern in what you do, so, like, there's gotta be reading to it, so we'd like to know.
Yeah, it was cool. Actually, I was glad to have the show last night. Give it up for Chris. He had a wonderful show last night. We gave all of us a chance to talk, and it finally dawned on me, because everything's got to be a picture in my head, is that basically in 2012 I had an intersection of my job. I was running background on the television show Gossip Girl, and we were doing our last season. So everything, huge ballroom scenes. They worked us till death. Like my craziest things were like ignoring cell phone calls while having intense conversations, and like watching heels go over wire, and just people, huge group, hundreds of people. And at the same time, that was when the Impossible Project was making the best film they had ever made, which I know a lot of you guys probably were familiar with it in 2010, when they were basically just essentially selling the last of Polaroid's warehouse, and then these early films they were coming up with, which had basically like a 50% rate. You had to shoot it into a black garbage bag. It was like really difficult. And then the last half of 2012 they came out with a newer film, and I brought my camera to work a few times, and I was able to get pictures of like a lot of people, and it was fun. And so and then why was I able to just jump into it? It was because when I was in film school, I was just a Polaroid fanatic. I worked at a classic camera store, and I knew every single camera. They had these big books from the old auctioneers catalog. Everybody wants. That's like Wikipedia in a book.
That's an archive. That's a fucking archive.
Like different SX70s, different land, different pull film land cameras, and then but Spectre is my chosen format. I found my first I was working at a place, a now defunct studio. They actually used that studio for halal card storage. I've actually ridden my bike there and stopped. and I found a Spectre camera back there, and then just interning in movies during college, I was able to always get some Spectre film lying around. I just shot it all the time. I had photos from film school, and then when Polaroid went dormant in 2007, they were in my camera collection. And thank God I never had a pipe explode or some catastrophic event, because they just sat there intact. And I had amongst them the Polaroid Spectra, the Minolta Spectra Pro. Polaroid had a camera manufactured by Minolta, which did long-term exposures. So that was basically when I was taking. So then I can take it to parties. So then I can do big group photos in darkness, because I don't really shoot. That's why all my photos, every time, it's like, that's what I did. I actually watched The Godfather. As an artist, this is what I did today. I watched The Godfather Part 2, because I felt my photos from the past week and a half, been a little on the exposed. I had a flash film on me last night, that was terrible. And basically, so it's like those movies are known for their blacks. They were like the last films shot on 3-strip Technicolor, and they're just black, and everything's about black. They just watch photos. So when I see light, I know when I see it tonight. That was how we kind of intersected. Like,
and it's funny, like how peculiar drunk it is with you.
it's not peculiar.
And like the way you do it, Chris Carr, he do like a little a party for New Year's. You were there.
I was there.
Anybody else was there that's here right now?
It was a little party.
Well, you know, I just like you know the way you do it. Like so I was DJing, you know what I'm saying? I did a little performance, and then so next thing you know, somebody else is DJing. I'm drunk. I'm running around hugging people, and all of a sudden I'm getting dragged. Everybody's getting like dragged into this big old cluster. I'm like, what the hell's going on? But I'm drunk, so I'm going with it. You know, and then I'm like, all right, who's been in Chris's house? Nope. All right, thank you. Damn, I'm about to say, I'm like, so he got this mezzanine thing. So I'm like, what's going on? And next thing you know, I see crazy ass Nick on top of the mezzanine, like, all right, move to the left. All right, guys. You know what I'm saying? And then you got shot like 4 times. Wait, it didn't work. But you know, I really, you know, appreciate how, you know, what you do, how you do it, and it's almost like you're making your own baseball cards from what's going on in Brooklyn right now.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you were in film before this.
Yeah, well, I still work in film. It's like basically I'm a production assistant with my booking with the Directors Guild, but I'm not gonna go that route.
Right.
I'm probably gonna branch off into this because it's like obviously it's asking for poverty to go this route, but I can't do 16, 18 hours like in there. When you see those film crews when they're taking up your parking and telling you to walk on the other side of the street, there's an ice cold, low paid production assistant behind most of that. He's the treacherous one. He's the one you should throw all your frustrations at. But in the sense, basically, I'm probably my long-term range is to probably take like a set dressing like 52 job, a local 52 job, because I'm in the biz, and then I can probably work at that 3 days a week. You can do some like 18-hour days, guys. And then hopefully I can make enough on 3 18-hour days to support this Polaroid habit. And then my college degree in documentary filmmaking that I've just run from in my Hollywood, in my Hollywood haze.
No, wait, I think what you do is dope because Polaroid is capturing in the moment compared to film where you develop 5 days later. It's instantaneous. You capture something in an instant.
Every movement, every art movement has its group photo.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Every single art movement, every single one. Like the futurists, the surrealists, you know, like the pop artists, they all have their group photo. So when I think about you being like obsessed with this and running around amongst us, I'm like, yeah, because we're gonna be in history somewhere.
It's important.
Because otherwise we're just gonna vanish, you know, like.
And you can use like an Instagram filter. He's using the actual Polaroid.
But he's doing it, and he's also choreographing it, you know, like you're saying.
Like as an artist, it's like it's just a whole other shit. It's like as an artist, like I have something to sell. It's like I took these great photos. I got photos at that one square block. I got photos at the next to last closing day at 285 Ken. I got a photo, and then going around. Let's go further. Walk around the corner, and then I got a photo at 2 of the final shows at Death by Audio. At Glassland. I got a photo last week in Symbols and Guitars. What I'm trying to say is that that's awesome that someone can own that photo. I want some like hipster that made it to the top and has all the money and can walk by his credenza and just walk by a big group photo from this club, because I think probably like 10 years from now, 40 times as many people that ever went there are probably going to talk about it. It's going to have the CBGB's effect. You know, maybe there's something, and then of course they have a copy of the photo. That's making. I'll take this photo. I hope I can sell it for $1,000. I'm gonna give you a copy. Sell for $1,000. I'll make $1,000. I'm hoping for that. Like.
Well, I have a question.